Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is episode number 38 of Coaching Connections. On today's episode, we have an assistant coach from Sam Houston State University, Mr. Andre Owens. He's a graduate of UTSA. He played basketball there. He played overseas in Germany. He's having himself a heck of a career as a coach at the collegiate level right now, and I couldn't be more proud of him. I'm happy to have him on the show. This is episode number 38, Mr. Andre Owens, Coaching Connections. Let's get after it.
What's up, man?
What's up?
What's going on?
Just here, man. Just got done with some work stuff earlier. Chilling. How you doing?
Doing good.
Andre, let me just say thank you, man, for taking time out of your day to talk about life, talk about hoops, and everything else in between, man. I really do appreciate your time.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate you, man. I'm excited about it. Anytime you get to share, it's always a good time. So,
absolutely. First let's talk about this whole COVID situation. It kind of looks different for everybody. How did it alter your life as far as your daily routine? What did you do all summer long? Did you binge watch a whole lot of TV? I mean, what were you up to this summer?
Yeah, it altered us. I think we were in a conference tournament where we were preparing. We actually did shoot around, went over to scout, did everything and got ready to play. And then I think our girls were at the game. They were watching the game. They had to play the next one, and they kind of started texting us like, I think they're about to cancel it. And we kind of knew watching ESPN, the ACC, and those big conferences started canceling. And then they canceled the game. So it was tough telling those seniors, hey, your season's over. You worked all year to get to the tournament. So that was difficult for them. And then kind of for us, we really kept working, a lot of what we do is on the phone. So we stayed on the phones, and we actually had to get 5 guys. And we had been out and seen a lot of guys, but at the same time, we had to talk on the phones and talk to coaches and kind of get idea of who to bring in. So a lot of what we did for that first month or two, we know we had to get guys signed. So that's what we tried to do our best, try to find ways to get those guys signed without coming to campus, without being able to visit. And kind of on a personal tip as far as that, what I kind of did, I read a lot, just kind of reading different things on the internet, reading books and doing things like that I didn't have time to do before. So I was able to do that. And then I binge watched, I actually went back and watched, what was the show? Golly, what was the show that it was in Baltimore back in the day. It was a long time ago. What was the name of that show?
Like a cop show?
Yeah, cop and God, what was the name of that show?
You're killing me. You just
Yeah, I know. It just went blank. But I went back and watched it. I'll think about it here soon. And just went back and watched that show. Caught up on. I've been watching The Chi and different other shows. Just really it, man. Watching movies that you haven't watched in a long time. Yeah. Different things like that. So that's pretty much what I've been doing, and on the phone. And we met maybe like one time a week. Tried to keep our distance. We stayed at home. We met as a staff maybe one time a week. And a lot of what we're doing recruiting wise has been on Zoom. Yes. So on Zoom we've been Zooming a lot of kids, getting them in front of coach, and being able to have some type of connection with them.
And now you guys back to working out?
We're not yet. We had 3 guys here in the summer that are able to still, because they stayed here and they've been quarantined and everything. The guys got here Friday, and so they just got to quarantine for 14 days before we can get back to working out.
Gotcha. Yeah. Life's different though, isn't it? I mean,
it's different. It's different, man.
But we get through this. We'll all come out of this a lot stronger than before. And learn a little something ourselves.
Yeah, I think so. I just thought about that show, The Wire, man. The Wire.
Oh, The Wire, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, The Wire was a show I caught up. I had never watched it. I didn't watch it.
You said old, and I was thinking like way back.
Oh, okay, yeah.
New York Undercover, but you said.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What about your childhood? Where'd you grow up? What was your childhood like? Did you have any influences in your life that were pretty powerful?
Childhood, I was in Dallas area, went to school in Irving. My mom it was me and my mom in Irving, and my dad was in Dallas area. So, stayed in Irving, went to Irving High School. Those two coaches that I had there were probably my first influences on basketball. And just teaching me how to play and how to do different things. Growing up, when we grew up, we just went out there and played and hooped, and just figured out how to get to the hole and figured out how to put the ball in the basket. So those two guys really kind of helped me start thinking more, of the game. And then I would say, from every coach, I think, man, has been great for me. I had Coach Kevin Gill at McLennan. He was great. We were his first class. He's still there now. And when I was a head coach at Western Texas, I actually got to play against him. So that was pretty cool.
I like, going up against a guy like that you looking at you a little bit. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like the first time we go and play there, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. I'm locked in, and I'm ready to get my team going. And coach comes over, and and somebody says, "Can we have a picture?" And so he's like, "Yeah, So we take a picture, and he puts his arm around me, and like from that moment right there, like he just like sunned me, like, hey, and we got beat by 30. Like, I mean, we got killed at their home gym. But then they had to come back to us, and we did get the win,
Nice.
So I at least got to split with them. But that was a pretty cool deal as far as that. And I would say Tim Carter, he coached at UTSA. He was really impact on me. And then playing pro, those guys were good. One guy that has a lasting impression on me, just even in coaching and anything, is Kenny Anderson. He played CBA, and he was my head coach. He was as real as it could get. I think sometimes coaches, they don't keep it as as real, but that was like his first job, and he was as real as he can get, and I appreciated it, and that really taught me a lot as far as coaching and moving on in life.
So you played college ball at UTSA, and then you played some pro ball, right? And how long after college did you play?
About 3 years. I played in Germany. I played in Turkey. And then I was supposed to be D-League, supposed to play with the Toros. But at that time, I think it was Curtis Gerald's was a point guard that they had, and they moved him down. And then that dream. So once he came down, I had somebody had to go. So that dream kind of didn't come up. And then I just kind of was out of it for a little bit. Then I played CBA, and that was a fun experience. And I just man, you got to be self-disciplined. I tell these guys all the time, you don't have coaches telling you in the summertime to go work out every day and do different things like that. And that self-discipline just wasn't there, And so I just kind of moved out of playing basketball. So
it's a good experience, though, for you to take that and like you said, give it to the guys that you're working with now. Like, look, I was there, and self-discipline is key. I can attest to that for sure.
Yeah.
What was it like out in Germany and Turkey? Different culture and everything.
Yeah, it was fun. Germany was definitely, a little. It was tough at first, just kind of being so far away from home, never experiencing that, and not, not having English as the first language. So that was tough a little bit, but it was a fun experience, great experience to see Europe, and to see, the world in a different light. And Turkey was the same. It's a Muslim place, so it was different. Walking around and seeing people fully covered, and things like that. But it was fun just learning the culture, and getting to and diving into their world. So that was great.
It's always neat and interesting to embrace somebody else's culture and kind of get to know a little bit more about them. I think here. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, it's to think about it. Like, I mean, we ran, this was, I guess, 2007, 2008 in that area. We were, we're running horns, we're running double ball screens, we're running roll and replace, and now it's like that's what the game is. Now it's like that's what the game is. Those guys were so far ahead, of the game and where it's at. Now it's nothing but ball screens.
So you've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Back then that translates to the game now.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So right now you're at Sam Houston State, assistant coach. So talk about your experience so far there, but then let's also talk about your journey. How did you get into coaching, and what were your stops in between then and now?
Well, like after I got through playing, I had a hard time figuring out what to do, and that's one thing that I preach to these guys all the time, man. Like, I think it's getting better, but as a culture at that time, like it was basketball all or nothing.
Yeah.
So I wasn't prepared, honestly, so much for life as much. So I just kind of sat around a little bit, and then went to be a personal trainer. Used my degree, went to be a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness. And one of my old coaches was at Eastfield Junior College. It's like a D3 community college in Dallas area. And I just emailed him one day and asked him to volunteer. So he let me volunteer. So I'm kind of working, personal training. I'm volunteering there for 2 years. And then the coach that had me, that recruited me to UTSA, got the job. His name Deion Phelps, and he's probably the most. I forgot, he's probably the most important guy on my journey as far as a coach. But he got the head job at Oklahoma City, and he had an assistant coach, but then they took away kind of the money and the funding for that assistant coach. So he was honestly only able to pay $7,000 a year. So he's trying to find somebody who really wants to get into it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was making pretty good money doing a personal trainer. So I kind of took a leap of faith, and I was like, man, I'm just going to go out here. This is what I want to do. And so I went out there for 3 years and was able to help him. And then I was actually at Baylor basketball camp, and the coach, Grant McCaslin, he's the head coach at North Texas now. He was assistant at Baylor, and I'm eating lunch. He says, hey, let me sit by you. And so we're just talking, and he's asking me what I want to do. And he says, man, I got a friend at Western Texas that needs an assistant. Calls him up. The next week I go out there and interview, and then I get on at Western Texas assistant coach. It was a fun first year. Learning JUCO was completely different from anything that I did. So I had to get good experience with that. And then that year in probably May, coach walks in my office. He's like, hey, I have 3 kids. I really want to spend time with them more. If I step down, do you think that you're ready to be the head coach? And I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. Sure. Yeah, I'm ready. And so I just had to go in front of the athletic director interview, and she was with it. And so it was a smooth transition for me going from assistant to being the head coach. And so that first year was probably my best year. We did really well. We won 22 games, lost 10. And then we had a kid, Daquan Jeffries, who is now playing for the Sacramento Kings. He was just playing in the bubble, and he's experiencing that. So we had some talent that first year. We had talent all through those years, and so I learned a lot about myself being that head coach and running my own program. And then last year in September, actually, I get a call from a 936 number, and I actually had looked the day before. I looked online, and I seen Sam Houston State needed an assistant coach, and I get this 936 number, and it's Coach Hooten. He leaves me a message. I'm like, oh man, I know what this is about to be. I'm about to make a big decision.
Yeah.
And so he asked me to join the staff, and I was like, hey, I have to take the opportunity. Coach has been here 10 years. He's won 19 plus games every year. Great program. So I had to do it. I had to come here and experience that, and this is what I wanted to do. So this first year was fun. It was definitely experience for me. Going from head coach to being an assistant. It's tough. It's tough. Not being the boss anymore. But it's been a great experience at the Division I level, and I think year 2 is going to be even better because now we kind of know each other and know what coach wants.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for this year too, if it happens,
Yeah, God willing, right?
Yeah, God willing.
So what would you tell younger coaches? I mean, a couple times in your career, you took these leaps of faith, like going up to Oklahoma and taking a pretty good pay cut, but following your heart, and then, going from a head coach to an assistant coach, but again, following your heart to a bigger program and ultimately doing what you want to do. What would you tell younger coaches in that situation, making those decisions?
Yeah, I think, and it's hard. It's different for everybody. I was single and I didn't have any kids, so I was, maybe able to kind of take that pay cut a little bit more than other people. But a lot of times that's what it's going to take. It's going to take for you to do something that you might not want to do for a couple of years to get to where you want to be. And I think the main thing we talk about leap of faith, and I think faith is the biggest part of it. You got to have faith in yourself, and faith in the person that you're going to work for to help you in the business and to keep you advancing in the business as well. So I would tell them to, you want to pick the right person to work for, the right person to lead you in the business, and that's a big thing too, big key.
Favorite basketball memories for you personally, as a player, as a coach, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, probably more as a coach. I've probably won a lot more as a coach than as a player. I came from. We had a tough district. I don't want to take that away, but my junior year, we didn't win a game in district in high school. So it wasn't a lot of favorite memories there. But I think a favorite memory in college was being at UTSA and watching UT your whole life, watching Texas, and we got to play there and just experiencing that atmosphere was big for me. Also playing overseas and experiencing that atmosphere, experiencing being a professional basketball player, doing what you want to do and getting paid for was definitely a favorite memory for me. And as a coach, I would say, my first year in Oklahoma City, we were the 8th seed. It was 8 teams in the tournament. We were number 8, and we had 7 guys that played, and those guys just bonded. Those seniors just told each other, like, hey, we're not going to take losing. We're going to get there. And we won the conference tournament and advanced to the national tournament. So that was great. That was my first championship, really being won besides Little League. So that I would say those are my great experiences. And then now, walking, first game we played Mississippi State, and that's a dream come true, coaching in front of, 15, 20,000 people.
Yeah.
So that's been a great experience as far as that traveling and being in Division I level. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's always a good feeling when you start to see some of those dreams come to fruition and you step out on the floor and you look out at the arena, I'm sure, and you're like, wow, kind of give yourself goosebumps.
Yeah, you're here, I guess, and and you're not where you want to be, but you're getting there, and like you said, seeing those dreams come true has been great. Yeah.
So you mentioned overseas quite a few times. You see a young man like Luka in the NBA, doing what he's able to do. What do you think are some of his keys to why he's so successful at that level at that age?
Yeah. I think like I said, they were advanced at the time as far as what we ran and what we did. I think those kids they're just learning. They're learning a little bit more as far as skill set, and they're probably able to do more as young kids. Focus on skill set. Here, we probably have to. You got to pay. You got to pay to get a skills trainer. In the U.S., there, I think they kind of come up in clubs and different things like that, and they focus a lot on basketball at a young age. So I think Luka was primed from a young age to be this prodigy. You do see that in America as well, but I think that's just how he's been successful. His mind is it's far ahead of some of these guys that are playing, that are athletes, really athletic and strong, but he's just outthinking those guys. And I think once he learns how to really shoot it, it's gonna be tough to guard Luka.
It's pretty crazy because he's still not as great of a shooter as he could be, but still tough to guard.
Yeah, and he's played. He's played pros, since he was 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
So that you can't take that experience away. Another guy, like LaMelo Ball, I think he's going to be a little more advanced than some of the guys coming out of the draft because he's been playing against pros. He's been
bunch of grown men. Yeah,
grown men. So
it is
once he becomes a grown man, it's definitely a little different. So I think that's why those guys have been successful.
So if you had to pick right now, an educated guess, who's winning the NBA championship?
And I'm Bron through and through, man. Like I'm LeBron. Like I can't not say LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't not say it. But I honestly think the Houston Rockets got something that's different. I was just saying it today. Like I think D'Antoni finally just, he's always been about the way he's played.
Yeah.
But now, he got rid of Capella. Like there's no bigs. All five can shoot. He's really sold out to what he wants to do. They're scary, man.
Well, if they're hitting, they're hard to beat. If they're hitting that 3-point shot, they're really tough.
Yeah, and I think I think like they said, Charles Barkley, like he said, we didn't think a jump shooting team would win it. Golden State won it. We didn't think this, and these guys, the game keeps changing. I hadn't really sat down and got to watch them until now, till they've been in a bubble, and I'm watching, and it's like these teams will go on these runs, these 10-0, maybe a 10-0 run or something, and the Rockets will miss 6 straight threes. But then they'll come back and hit 3, and it's a 1-point game.
Like that.
So
that's how I always felt about the Warriors when they were on that run. Like no lead felt safe. No matter how much time was on the clock. I never felt safe.
Never felt safe, man. And I think they just kind of, all five. I'm looking at these bigs having to guard the paint, then get out to the corner to guard PJ Tucker shooting the 3. And it's tough. I think they know the roles, and I kind of like them, as a dark horse in that race. But I gotta go with Bron. Bron. I gotta say Bron.
Put out there. I want LeBron to win, but Houston's tough. I got you.
Honestly, the way Dallas looks, they're hitting. They got, they probably have a little more. They can shoot it probably better than Houston Rockets and playing the same way.
Yeah. And that Luka Porzingis dynamic is tough. Scary.
Yeah. It's different in that bubble, that tough, gritty guy. The dog. Everybody says you want dogs. It's just the NBA it's different, man. I don't know. It's different. Yeah.
You talk about the evolution of the game. How important is it as a coach to be able to evolve as well with the way the game has been changing a little bit?
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's important. And, us as a staff here, we've watched a lot of Zoom, from international guys to G League coaches to NBA coaches, to even, either other college coaches, just kind of listening and picking their brains. And that's been great. That's been great about this quarantine, is that you've been able to learn a lot, sit down and have time to learn. And so, I think that's important, as far as a coach is to evolve. I do think, some guys are going to stick to what they do. Older coaches are going to stick to what they do. And I think that works as well. But I think the game is evolving, man. If you either going to, get with it or you're going to get left behind. Honestly, now, at least 4 guys are going to should be able to shoot the ball on your team now.
At least.
Not 5, if not all 5. So it's just different. That 3-point line is really changed the game, and it did when it first started. But now it's just the 3-point line just keeps evolving. And I seen, I think Trae Young tweeted something about a 4-point line, and you don't think it'll happen, but the way these guys are shooting it, man.
You look at what Dame Lillard's done. I think he said 57 threes in between 30 and 40 feet on the season, and he's shooting at 40-something%. I don't know how accurate that stat is. I read it on Bleacher Report or something, but it was incredible.
Yeah. And the way I played, I think my senior year, I think I shot 26% from the 3. I probably wouldn't be able to play as much now. They'd be trying to put me at the 4 or something like that. Somebody like that's another story. You could always.
I've been trying to pull from 30-40 since I was 7. Yeah. wasn't always, but it wasn't always accepted by coaches or whatever. And it's kind of typically known as a bad shot, right? But when you see Steph Curry, Trae Young, Dame Lillard doing it, it's no longer a bad shot.
It's changing, man. Again, it's changed, and those guys are hitting it at a high clip. You got what can you say? And I think, the more possessions you get is becoming important in basketball as well. Guys are trying to get more possessions, and get shots off quicker. So
I remember a few years ago I had a really talented freshman group come in, And so my lead assistant, I moved him from the JV to the freshman. Said, I need you to work these guys because I want them to stay together. I don't want to break them up. So that way, when they're all sophomores, juniors, they got that that chemistry. And so we had this one kid, and he goes, Coach, after the first game, he goes, Coach, this little dude just pulled it from like the volleyball line, right? And I said, well, what did you tell him? Well, he made it. And then he looked at me to see if I can say something. So I did. But then he did it again, and he made it again. And then he made 5 out of 7 from like volleyball range. And then he did it again the next game. He just had that ability. And I said, well, Coach, if he's making it, and if it's not a rush shot, it's within the flow of what you're trying to do. He just happens to be kind of deep. I guess let him shoot it if he can make it. I mean,
yeah.
Like you said, trying to evolve. At first, it didn't really sit right. It just didn't feel like the right thing to say. But if he's making 5 out of 6, 5 out of 7, and what else can you say, right, Andre?
He's open. He's probably gonna be open from out there, and nobody's gonna be guarding him. But if he's hitting it,
and it's not like the young man was doing some kind of push shot where he wasn't strong enough, so it looked kind of funny. He's just shooting a regular, catch it in the rhythm, letting it fly, and it just had that ability,
Yeah.
Let's talk about some impactful moments in your career, or even in your playing days. It can go either way. Where this game is actually much more than just playing the game of basketball, much more than coaching the game of basketball.
Yeah. I have it's a kid that I coached Western Texas my first year there. He's becoming a dentist, now. He went on to Bowling Green, and now he's, trying to become a dentist. He actually just started a foundation to give back to where he's originally from. So I think those stories like that, because it's been times where I've had kids that I've struggled with all the way through college, and I might be just walking down the street, and I've gotten a text like out of nowhere, like Coach, man, I appreciate everything you did. I realize what you're talking about now, and things of that nature, man. And that's always, been bigger than basketball to me, because like I said before, like I struggled after not playing basketball. So I really put a lot of emphasis on that. And we always had a slogan when I was coaching, from boys to men. These guys come in, to me as a boy, and I'm going to do my best to make you a man and be productive in this world. So that's kind of, anytime I see these guys get a job, they call me and get a job, they're being successful. Those are really the things that are really impactful to me. And then of course, guys being able to play. You keep playing. And the kid Daquan Jeffries, I mean, it's him, his brother. I think he has a sister as well, and just his mom. And he's always been about, I got to help my mom. I got to help my mom. And to see him, get to the NBA and be able to do things like that, I mean, that you can't help but to love to hear those stories. And so to be a part of those, you hear those stories all the time, but to actually be a part of it and to see it. Those things are big time. Mm-hmm. I think you're muted.
You're right. I was muted. My bad. My dogs are making noise upstairs, and so I turned it off while you were talking.
Oh, okay.
I got a couple messages. I don't know if you've seen them online.
Yeah.
But they're upstairs jumping around. It sounds like a bunch of horses running in a stampede or something.
Okay.
I didn't want to mess you up. No, but those bonds, they last a lifetime, and it's just a different feeling. I've talked to a bunch of people throughout this series, and they all say similar things. And yeah, the championships are cool, or winning this or winning that is cool, but the feeling you get from a young man's success, and that has nothing to do with basketball, having a kid and getting married, or getting the job he wanted, or like you said, giving back to his community where he grew up, or making it to the next level and being able to take care of his mom. I'm getting some goosebumps. Look at that. It's just it's a good feeling.
That's what it does, man.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
And so the impact you have as a coach, it's much more than what you're teaching them on the floor.
Yeah. And I'm probably a little old school with ways. I don't let a kid make it, So a lot of times they don't like me, they don't like me as it's going on because I'm not gonna let you make it, for in anything because I know, like I've experienced it, man. Like you're not gonna let you make it, and so that's one big thing to me, and then impactful, kind of when I played, another funny story, man. Like I guess the Spurs, they usually kind of give the best player in the area a chance, and they found Devin Brown out of UTSA, and so when I came out, I was able to work out with them, and so I've been playing a three. I'm probably about 6'2", my whole time. So I'm out here about to play. I'm playing with these guys, and I have no, I think I know how to play, but I really don't. And so it's all rookies. So at the time, it's rookie camp. So it's George Hill and is it Jan? How you pronounce it? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Mahimi? Jan
Mahimi.
Yeah, it's him. Those are two guys that they drafted. The only veteran there is Tim Duncan. So we're playing 5-on-5, and I'm playing on Tim Duncan's team. And literally, he just stops, like, hold on, man. Like, this guy got to go. Talking about me, like, and I'm thinking, like, I'm thinking I'm the best thing that's smoking, on the court. And he's like, man, I'm like dribbling from one side of the court to the other, like not, just not knowing how to play that game and not knowing how to pass as much and things like that. And so that was a humbling experience, man. That was a humbling experience. And I got, Tim Duncan said, I got to go. So I'm on the side of the court just working out. Actually, who I'm working out with, I can't think of his name, but he coaches for the Charlotte Hornets. He's the head coach for Charlotte Hornets now. And at the time, I want to say he was like video or something for the Spurs. And so like he's working me on the side, and I'm like looking like, dang, and I got to be there for 3 weeks. So I kept coming back, and I got better and things like that. But that whole experience, man, changed my outlook on a lot of things as well. Playing, he's a Hall of Famer. Tim Duncan's a Hall of Famer, and he was like, man, you got to go. Like
we're gonna get to Tim Duncan's question, but what is that? I mean, it's humbling. What were you feeling when you hear that coming from one of the greatest of all time?
Yeah, and I probably never felt that in my playing career. I've never felt, I've always kind of been, I was always kind of at the top of the pecking order. And to be at the bottom of that pecking order, and like I said, I was playing a three and I didn't have position, so I'm guarding 6'8" guys, and these guys just coming to the front of the rim and just finishing over me, stuff like that, and it just it was very, very humbling.
And I don't think it was like from a complete jerk type of stance.
No,
he was saying it. You had to get better.
Yeah. Like, hey man, you're not. This is not you. Like, hey man, you gotta get better. And by the time we ended, I felt like I did get better, and and got to play and started figuring out, hey, this is Spurs. We pass the ball here. We don't just try to do what you do. Pass the ball, we'll figure it out. So
beautiful basketball they play.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
No, for sure. All right, so back to the Tim Duncan type question. I wasn't going to ask it because I had to actually delete it. I wrote it down. I was like, nah, I'm asking something else. But I'll ask it since you brought him up. If you had to pick your top 3 power forwards of all time, who do you roll with?
Yeah, that's tough. Once again, I'm from Dallas, Texas, man. So Dirk Nowitzki has to be, Dirk,
legendary. Yeah,
Dirk has to be there somewhere. I think Tim Duncan has to be there, and then it gets tricky. I think a lot of people put Karl Malone in there a little bit. He doesn't have rings, but and it's probably this is when I seen it and played. I wasn't around. I'm pretty sure it's somebody I'm missing that was a lot better. But KG, Kevin Garnett was one of the guys that I really liked and just the way he played. So I would probably have to say those 3 were mine. Yeah. What about you?
Tim Duncan, 1.
Yeah.
No, I got KG up there too.
Yeah.
And I'm not copying you at all, I promise. But
yeah,
I mean, you've seen me play myself, so I appreciate a guy like Dirk, who's 7 foot, almost 6'11", and he can shoot it, and he can shoot that thing. And his shot was almost impossible to block. A little fadeaway, he puts it above his head, I mean, how do you contest that?
Yeah, there was no way.
So it's just a matter of whether or not Dirk was feeling good or not feeling good. And
Yeah,
so, and like you said, a lot of that has to do with just how old I am and the guys that I watched playing growing up. And so I can say, Karl Malone's a little older. I watched him a little bit, but not I wasn't old enough to appreciate what he could do on the floor. I can see highlights all I want or replays. It's not the same. But when you're growing up and you're watching these guys do it night in and night out as a young man growing up, those are the guys that stick to my mind. So if you had to make a – go ahead.
I was saying in Dirk's, his one ring, I mean, it just kind of – I think it equates to a lot more, man, because the way it happened and, he would go through the Spurs, man. And they were a dynasty at the time and to beat the Heat. And, and I thought I thought that one ring meant, he probably got about 3 or 4 in my mind.
Oh, man, you look at – exactly. You think about, like you said, who he beat. Spurs were in their prime. They were on the way back to the finals, and Manu picks up that foul. Dirk scores, and then they go on and
I forgot about that.
They almost didn't get there, right? But they did. And then they beat Miami with LeBron, Dwayne, Bosh, and the level of basketball that Dirk had to play at was insane, and he did. It was unreal, and you're right, and you think back, Mahinmi was on that team also in Dallas.
Oh yeah, he sure was. Was. Yeah.
I had him on the show a month and a half ago or so. He did a good job.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's a good player.
Yeah,
that's a good player.
So then if you had to pick your starting 5 all time by position, without getting too tricky with it.
Yeah. Let's see. I start at the 5. Shaq or Hakeem. Probably go Shaq at the 5. Got to keep the homegrown. Got to keep Dirk at 4. Got to have LeBron. Oh man, that's tough because you got Kobe and Jordan.
Yeah, that 2 guard's tricky.
Yeah, man, I gotta go Jordan, but I feel like I gotta have Kobe in there.
Those guys can play. Either one of them can run the point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think you got to. Yeah, I think that's what my starting 5 would be. Kobe and Jordan, just figure it out.
What about right now? You talk about the guys in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, man. I think Dame he's making me a believer, man. So I might have to put Dame at the 1 now. That 2. Who was there at the 2? I might have to come back to that. Well, actually, I might just do a LeBron and KD in there, 2, 3. Probably KD at the 3, a 2, and then LeBron at the 3. The 4 position right now, probably Giannis. Probably make Giannis my 4, and then at the 5, that's tough. Who's a real 5?
It is real tough. You even think about like Jokic. But he could stretch it.
Yeah,
he could pass it. I'm just talking about just centers in general.
Yeah, Embiid is good
when
he's locked in. He's what I probably wouldn't even have. I'd probably just do. I probably have Kawhi, LeBron, and KD. Just figure it out.
Yeah. Giannis at the 5.
Guys that didn't put Giannis at the 5. Yeah, he's a 5 now. He's a 5 now.
Yeah, think about how big that team is, though. I mean,
yeah,
that's humongous.
Yeah,
you basically got 2 7-footers in the starting lineup, and KD and Giannis, and then Kawhi and LeBron are 6'8" or so.
Yeah, and it's it's funny looking at those Bucks and the Rockets. I mean, Westbrook's not a 5, but for the Rockets, he's probably the only one that's scoring around the basket.
Yeah.
So he's, and Giannis the same way from Milwaukee. He's probably the one that's scoring. Brook Lopez is trying to shoot it. Lopez trying to shoot a 3.
Splash Mountain, baby. Splash Mountain.
Yeah, so it's like those guys are the 5 now.
Yeah.
Or scored at the rim like a 5 would. So it's a different game.
What advice would you give any young players, high school players looking to make an impression as far as wanting to play at the next level? Like you said, you had to be humbled a couple times, and I mean that respectfully, obviously.
Yeah, no, hey, I take it. I take it respectfully. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, what would you tell some young guys, maybe high school age, trying to figure their way out?
I think the toughest thing now is, you click on your phone and you see blessed to receive this offer, blessed to receive this offer,
Mm-hmm.
and you start comparing. You start looking like, man, why I don't have that? Why I don't, and things like that. And some guys can use it as motivation and do it, but I think just the main thing is just keep your head down and keep working, man. And I think in keeping that faith, and I think it all works itself out.
Yeah.
And it's tough to do with so much social media, and they know like I didn't, when I played, I didn't know. I might have, if I read a Slam magazine, I might know the best player in California, but now they can just pick up their phone and the best player in California has 1 million followers and 1 million views, doing some type of dunk and things like that.
Yeah.
We just lined up like, hey, you're in front of me, I'm finna go at you,
That's
like
it. That's it. Yeah.
yeah. Like it was nothing else. So that would be one thing I'd say, man. Just keep your head down and just work, man, and it will work itself out. Is what I think.
It's crazy when you think about social media. Let's think about like LeBron, right? Back in 02 or so when he was coming out of high school, like social media wasn't a big deal then. And he was still a big deal coming out of high school. So imagine if he was in a social media era, how big of a deal would he? And it doesn't really get much bigger than where he's at now. He's at the pinnacle of superstardom, right? So, but imagine what that would have been like for a guy like him, or even like Jordan. Imagine like during the Jordan era, if there was social media. I mean, it's mind blowing.
Mind blowing. And and coaches, we have to take it. You have to figure out. You can't say no social media and things like that. So you have to work around it. And you got to appreciate it for what it is, and let those kids be kids. But at the same time, I think those guys, they get real locked in on that. So that's why I say just keep that head down, man, and keep working.
Yeah, just follow your path. Your path doesn't have to be his path,
Yeah.
And going back to this series I've done, same thing with coaches. Everybody's journey looks different, and everybody has different goals, but the way they get to that end goal, the journey's different, but just put your head down and go to work.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think it'll figure itself out.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right. Top 3 basketball movies of all time.
Ooh, gotta put Hoop Dreams in there.
Okay. No, you're the first one that's ever said that, by the way.
For real. I came to San Antonio and was recruiting, and I don't think I embarrassed myself, but when Gates played and the Suns played in San Antonio, and so I met William Gates, and I'm like, man, like golly, like you. Like I really like went out and played basketball because of you guys. Like watching that documentary, like changed my life as far as basketball. Like I got to put in work, and so I took a picture with him, and I was excited. I don't know if he still gets that as much anymore. I don't know, especially down this way in Texas. I'm not
sure. A bunch of old guys like us, right?
Yeah. But I'm like, man, that's Gates. Like I took a picture with him, and like, man, like you don't even know how much that impacted me in the game. But I would say probably above the rim.
Whew, yeah.
Nobody's
ever said that one either, by the way. But I feel you 100%. Yeah, 100%.
And then I probably got to pay homage to the old school, man. Like with like Hoosiers. I liked Hoosiers. And I guess you can name some other ones too. Some of the new ones, Coach Carter and things like that have been good. The one about the Texas Western team, that was a nice glory road. But yeah, that's tough, man. What about you? What are your 3?
Well, hold on real quick. Going back to saying Coach Carter is new. Yeah. That's not new no more, but it's crazy how time flies.
Yeah.
That movie's got to be 15.
Is it 8? Maybe something like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty old. Yeah,
it's crazy. I like Above the Rim. I love Above the Rim. It wasn't even fully about a basketball movie, but there was basketball in it, and so I was riding with it. And No, you just got to think back to like your childhood or your younger years. What was very influential to you, you know? And I thought, White Man Can't Jump is always
Can't
it's
jump.
always going to be up there for me. You know? And nobody's ever said that. I've only asked the question like 4 or 5 times out of these 35 episodes.
Do
But
you
nobody
remember?
said,
You remember Marcus? I think it's Marcus Johnson. He was
yeah,
a guy who played basketball, and then he was a guy that was like, man, I'm finna go get the gun and come
yeah,
back.
yeah.
But his son actually is on our team, Cyrus Johnson. And he's really he's learning and becoming a good player. But yeah, his son's on our team, so you know
With
we
the
got to
mask
meet.
on, I was like, nah, this ain't me.
Yeah, I haven't brought that up to him yet. We just kind of met and just kind of went on, but I might have to say next time, man. Like I remember that.
What are they from Texas originally?
From Cali. They're from
Okay.
Cali. But he just kind of, I'm not sure what. I think Coach has an old friend that was with UCLA as an athletic trainer for years with Wooden and all everything from Kareem to all those players, and I think he contacted him and told him like, hey, you know, Marcus has a kid that, you know, that plays basketball, not really getting recruited. Look at him, and
Yeah,
Coach liked him, and we
nice.
got him here. Yeah.
So I mean, I still get anxiety when I watch that. Like it's one of those movies when it's on, I can't change it. It's got to stay on. But
Yeah.
like every time he tries to dunk and loses the money on that outside court after they just won, I know he's gonna lose the money, and he doesn't dunk it, and I'm like, you know, why? And I'm like, why are you doing this? And, you know, it's not gonna change the outcome of the movie, but it gives me anxiety
He has to
nonetheless.
go home to his wife. He has to go
Yeah.
home to his girl, and you know, not without the money.
I would say another one is He Got Game. Obviously,
Yeah.
you know, acting was, you know, but the movie itself, like, I would sit there, like, especially that first introduction to the movie, where they show Ray Allen just shooting jumpers
Yeah.
on an outside goal, and to me, it sounds corny, right? But poetry in motion, because it was. I was like, man, that is beautiful. And so I would go outside and I would watch that, rewind it and watch it, rewind it, watch it, just that little clip, and go outside and try to imitate it. And, you know, but that movie obviously has some significance in my life. But those would probably be the 3 favorites, not the 3 best. Coach Carter, I can't leave that off. I'm going to pick 4 just because I'm stubborn.
Yeah. I probably have to put it. He Got Game in there somewhere. That was a classic. What was your favorite part of that one?
Of He Got Game?
He Got Game. Was that your favorite part? The intro?
I mean, that's my favorite basketball moment, I guess, in that movie. You know, for some reason, I'm a sneakerhead to an extent. Not like I was when I was younger. You know, I got a house and I got bills now, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when they busted out those Jordans, I thought that was, for some reason, I just thought, man, those are sick. But in that movie, I think when Jake Shuttlesworth and Jesus, when they play one-on-one, and they're going at it, and they're kind of reminiscing when they were younger, just the whole vibe and story that it was telling, you know, that's probably my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, I always liked the part where they came with their 5 to the outside courts, and they're like, what you ain't heard? And he like pulls out the newspaper.
I said, how is that not all sweaty? You just got done playing. This shit is in your sock. You know, I had that thing put up in my house somewhere. Come on, Booger.
Booger. That was his name.
But that scene in that movie reminded me of us as kids, which doesn't happen anymore like it used to. Right now, everybody just kind of goes to the same gym, and they don't even really do that. They just play AAU tournaments every weekend, you know. But like we would pull up on a weekday or a Saturday morning or a Sunday afternoon, different park, right? You know, I'm gonna take my South Side crew.
Yeah.
We're gonna show up to your side of town or your gym or your court, and we're gonna put it on you in your own gym or on your own court. You know, at least that was the goal. And if it didn't work out, at least it was a battle. You know.
Yeah.
That's what that reminded me of. Just showing up with your squad and putting in work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it was about, man. That was fun. That was fun days when you're young, being able to do that.
Now, I wish kids did that more. I do.
Yeah.
I have open gyms as often as I can at our school. And our kids are all about it, right? So and we have good turnouts with our kids, but like I don't see kids bouncing, to different places, taking their squad and just putting in work.
Just putting in work, trying to see who's better.
Yeah,
trying to prove yourself.
Like you said, just I know what you got. I know who you are. We're gonna line up head to head, and we'll see what's up afterwards.
See what's up, man? Like that was fun. That was fun. We had a lot of rec centers when we were young in different areas of town, and once we got a car and was able to move around, like we would go to the rec center, man, and take our crew. Like we're gonna run this gym.
And there's always just one guy with a car, so everybody just stuffed in.
Yeah.
You got gas money, so I got $2. That's all I got. Anyway, man, that was good times, brother. Well, I appreciate you, Andre. I don't want to keep you too long. I know it's a weeknight. We all got things to do, but I appreciate your time, my man, and I'm very happy for you. I'm glad to see you, living out your dream and working at the Division I level, and I got nothing but love and respect for you.
Oh yeah, appreciate you, man. And I love what you're doing. And last, man, I just want to kind of, give a shout out to those guys, to San Antonio basketball, man. For me coming up and getting to college and being in junior college, I played with Keith Simpson, Keith Simpson, Albert. I think Albert's last name was Vasquez.
Vasquez.
Vasquez. He was at Lee. This is our junior college team. Eric Dawson. He was on our team. Kenny Wilson. Yeah, and then then when I left, I'm probably leaving people out, but when I left out, Chris Ross came. Pat should have came. He should have played. He should have came to McLean. I think he ended up going to Panola. Pat Fields, and those guys, man. Ivan Johnson, playing against him. He was at Cisco.
Man, he was a monster. I played against him all through high school.
Man, those guys, man. San Antonio guys, Mikey Mitchell, Eichel Fable, like those guys were when I came out of college. They were at Hill. We were at McLennan, so we would battle. And I'm pretty sure I'm missing some guys, Chris Collins, and different guys like that. Big Chris Daniels, man, it was some good players, man. Really good players that became pros, and a couple of them still playing. Yeah. And so shout out to those guys, man, and San Antonio period, man. Big part of my life. So I appreciate San Antonio all the time.
Well, we claim you just in case you didn't know.
Yeah. Anytime, man. Y'all still running, man. If I'm ever in town, I'm gonna hit you up and try to play. Yeah.
COVID slowed us down a little this summer. Those guys picked up again. They're going out to a local gym, and a lot of those guys have been playing. But real quick before we go, going back, just because we're all a little older, and Keith is older, but this current generation, I don't think these current young people know how good Keith Simpson really was back in the day.
Oh man, he was good. He was honestly, and he kind of took me, I might tell you, Eddie, you can go ahead and show it. But he honestly kind of, took me under his wing, man. Kind of like showed me the ropes as a freshman. He was at McLennan. He was the host of my visit. And I remember he would do this dunk where he would take the ball and act like he's going between his legs and actually touch it, but he wouldn't take it all the way between his legs and bring it back and dunk it. And I was like, golly, man, this dude had hops, had it all. And so he was really good, man. It was really good basketball coming out of San Antonio, man.
We appreciate it as San Antonians. The record.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
well, my man, like I said earlier, man, I appreciate you very much for your time. If you need something down the road, you got any questions or whatever you need, just feel free to hit me up.
Yeah. Okay. Same way, man.
Appreciate it, man. Take care, stay healthy, stay safe out there.
You too, man.
Talk soon.